Yo folks, and welcome to the channel. My name is Bork. In today's video, we'll be talking about mistakes to avoid when it comes to Solana NFTs. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. And huge shout out to the Solana plug for essentially providing this information. And as you can see right here, SolCities is a blatant ripoff, support artists, not plagiarists. And the reason why this was essentially said is because Crypto Cities already exists and SolCities is trying to do the same thing. If you actually look at when Crypto Cities was created, it was back in March of 2021. All right, that's insanely important. And you don't know how long they could have done like back-end work before they released their Twitter and stuff. The point I'm trying to make is SolCities just started in September 2021. And yes, they've posted images of like their work and the things that they plan to do, but you can see here they also have like this simplistic sort of art. And the problem that I'm trying to like essentially gather with this is you're trying to deliver a product that looks similar and already exists on OpenSea, and you can see the floor price for Crypto Cities. It's insane. It's 35 ETH. That is absolutely ridiculous. This is an insanely powerful and if not crazily successful project. And the reason why we have to look at that is because SolCities is trying to deliver a project that technically already exists on the Ethereum blockchain. I know it's September 2021, barely October. That is insane to essentially try to bring something to life, but not to mention it already exists on ETH. And it's because it's plagiarized, because it already exists. This is a huge red flag, and you should not mint projects or try to get into projects that essentially already exist. SolGuards is a blatant copy of just something that exists on Ethereum. One thing that you can also do is take one of the images from SolCities, for example this one with the dragon and stuff. You essentially copy the links or copy the image, right? You can just right click save image as, and then you can run it through Google reverse image search, and then paste in the link, see if you get any sort of hits, if this project already exists or match like the filter. You can also go on TinyEye, you can upload an image, whatever you need to do to essentially get some sort of feedback saying like this image is a copy or it already exists. Or you can just jump on OpenSea and just scour like OpenSea to see if the project already exists. That's insane due diligence. And the thing is with SolCities, I'm just not gonna mint this. I know like this is a little bit of FUD on this thing, but the point is like this project already exists, and when someone does something like this, they plagiarize art. I think that's like the biggest offender that you could do, and you should definitely avoid the mistake of just hopping into something because it looks too good, and if it's too good to be true, it might be. One thing that you can also do, which is really helpful, and this is a mistake that I had early on. I've been in the Solana ecosystem, at least NFT wise, for roughly like 2 months, and I didn't start taking notes and doing anything like until like September 20th. And the point I'm trying to make here is you need to join like the communities. You need to sort of be in Twitter like spaces and just see what's going on. For example, like I tagged a bunch of people who you should follow because they create Twitter spaces such as Soul Big Brain, the Monkey DAO, Celon, Exchange Art, Mills Guga, and of course Dali, creative artists in the Solana ecosystem. And I have to say, when it comes to different artists and the way people think, you get a better idea of understanding what NFTs you should be investing in. And for example, Exchange.art right here is going to do an interview tomorrow with Tower DAO. That is insanely bullish for me because Tower DAO is an amazing project. All right, if you haven't seen it, it's going to be like these condo based or room looking things where essentially you can jump in there and hang out with like the different NFTs that you collect. But most importantly is I can actually talk to the Tower DAO devs and ask them and pick their brains when it comes to the spaces and it's open floor time, right? And I highly recommend to essentially join Twitter spaces, ask your questions, be curious about the project. Don't just accept that the project looks cool and you should ape in, and you're gonna miss out if you don't buy this. Try to do your research, try to get to know the artists, try to get to know the devs, because it's more than just buying something that looks cool. It's about supporting the artist that actually is creating the project or like the NFT, whatever it is. And remember, an NFT is just a token. The thing that makes like Tower DAO so special, or any project, is that there is a unique cryptographic like token, a non-fungible token that is attached to this individual artwork. I just want to like say that really quickly, and I'll be on this space. This will be like at 10 a.m. PST tomorrow, I believe, and there's going to be like more down the road. And another thing that of course that I want to advocate for is using tools. Like I didn't use tools in the beginning. Obviously these tools didn't exist at all, but now that they exist, fully take advantage of them. I'm pretty sure some of you guys watched like my tools video. If not, I highly recommend like watching my Solana NFT tools video. This is gonna be Solana floor. It shows who are like unique holders to a project. You can sort of tell like if the project is going to go well. Like for example, Rory here has 5,198 unique holders. That is insane for any project. That's higher than any of these projects. And one thing being is because like Rory is backed by like FTX, there's a lot of people who want this thing to actually be successful and all that stuff. You might be wondering, oh, there's only 1,955 like holders when it comes to SMBs, but the thing is like there's some SMB like whales who will never let go of their SMBs, and they're going to be holding on to this thing for years. So it's just something to like sort of understand as you're jumping into NFTs, who are going to be long-term holders, what's like everyone's vision, because not every single project that you jump into will have long-term holders. But at the very beginning, this is like one of my number one pieces of advice. Don't just invest like, you know, all of your soul into an SMB when you're first starting out. You know, start out with like one soul, start out with like 2 or 3 soul, and eventually flip your way, you know, from these different projects to earn like, you know, the top 5 or top 10 like sort of, you know, things to own when it comes to Solana NFTs. I don't want to use the word blue chip because that's sort of buzzwordy. The point I'm trying to make is when you see like, you know, these top movers, these top projects, focus on early projects, focus on the mints, try to get knowledge that people don't know. All right, actually do your research, go on the ground, go on the Discord, you know, tag the team with questions. What makes this project the best project that I could possibly put my money into? You know, why do I want to essentially go into, for example, Magic Solana S-Word? We'll talk about it later, and I actually like really like that project, but it's essentially getting down and doing like the actual work to understand NFTs, because remember, at the end of the day, like one soul is worth over $100, so you're spending hundreds of dollars. The least that you could do is essentially do your research and not just ape into something. Don't buy into a project that's pumping hard. That's like one of my biggest mistakes. Yes, you could definitely FOMO into the project if you have the liquidity to afford it, right? What do I mean by that? If you have like 50 soul that your profits and you don't mind losing it, then go ahead and buy Gecko, which I think might be okay, but I'm not entirely sure. And another thing to really look into is don't just trust YouTubers, don't trust influencers, don't buy a project just because someone vouches for it. Always do your own research, always go in the Discord, always go on Twitter, always see when the project was created. Just do your own work. Like you can see here, Magic Solana S-Word has been around since August 2021. August 2021 was when essentially like Solana NFTs started to booming. So they've been in the back putting in the work, trying to get this thing working, trying to make sure that what they want to do, what they want to deliver is actually meaningful. Like that's like the biggest things when it comes to this thing. And if you're wondering about like, you know, my mints and stuff, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but let's go ahead and jump into another mistake to avoid, and that's buying stuff on SolSea that says minted on SolSea. That's the thing that you do not want to buy. If it says something like this, or there's some sort of like mint address that doesn't make sense, you know, the creator address doesn't make sense, never buy stuff like that. All right, unless it's verified. This is not a verified project. It would have like a little, you know, check mark on it. If you want to look, like Metabase I think isn't verified yet on like this marketplace, but for example right here, this art by Keen, it has a little check mark on it. That means that it is actually authentic and it is part of a collection based off of the artist, and you can essentially support this person and buy their actual artwork. It's just something to sort of look into in case you're like, hey, you know, is this something that I actually want to invest in? Is this something that's worth it? You know, do your own diligence and then essentially purchase stuff, but make sure most of all, if you're buying it off of secondary, it's actually a verified artwork and it's legit, right? This is one of the few things that you can essentially do. And the next thing being is buy a ledger. Like you're spending hundreds if not thousands of dollars on like, you know, images and tokens and everything. The biggest thing that you could do for yourself is buy like a $100 ledger or $75 ledger, because essentially this makes it so that the thing that you're holding, the NFT or the token, whichever it is offline. And it might not be like 100% foolproof, but if you get one of these, at least you reduce the risk of essentially losing all of your net worth if someone essentially is able to get access to your wallet somehow and drain you all of like your soul, all of your NFTs, because all it takes is to click like one link and you essentially have drained your wallet. And that goes to the last point, where you never click random links unless you trust that person, you trust that institution. Feel free to click links that are actually legit, you know, they're on a Twitter page that you trust, and there's lots of traffic, you know, it's followed by people who essentially, you know, used to follow them. So for example, I don't want to click stuff that is just like some random account, even if it has like 4,000 followers or whatever. Like no one's following like this account, you never know what can happen. But for Soul Cities, like huge red flags, I don't recommend anyone minting this. Like there's extreme due diligence that essentially points to the fact that this is a blatant ripoff, and you should not support plagiarism, and you need to support artists, number one. But yeah, those are essentially the mistakes to avoid. Let's go ahead and jump into some last minute market like analysis when it comes to like NFTs and stuff. So when it comes to SMBs being number one, it's just all comes down to community. Everyone's really active. Degen Apes, they're number two. There's gonna be like heavy like ice movements on this. They're making moves, adding pets. Galactic Geckos is just a solid group of people. There's so much lore and so much activity in the Discord. It's absolutely insane. Like the paragraphs that that people write about their geckos, it's next level. We already talked about Rory. There's like, 5,198 unique holders. That's by far like the biggest amount of unique holders in any project. Of course, there's Thugbirds. Thugbirds are going to be like thugs forever. They're an amazing community. We have other projects right here. Solstead's really bullish on this one. It's the only project that essentially allows you to view your NFTs in a home. And virtual real estate is going to be more valuable than actual real estate one day. But that's like a different topic. But I just want to talk about like that stuff. And if you're wondering, what am I going to be minting anytime soon? I talked about it, probably Magic Solana S-Word, because this is one of the few ones that's going to be up and coming to me. They're actually going to be giving away an SMB, a Degen Ape, and a Meerkat. All of these three things, they are insanely valuable. It's like the thing that I'm minting. Do your own research. None of this is financial advice, and always do your own diligence at the end of the day. But yeah, that is going to be like the mistakes to avoid. But let's go ahead and jump back in summary. Don't buy or don't get into mints where it's clearly plagiarized work. Try to do like your due diligence. Reverse search images on Google. Go on TinyEye, do like image uploads, do what you need to do, participate in the community, get involved somehow, jump onto Twitter Spaces. You don't have to talk to anyone, you can just listen, just be there. Use like Solana's various different tools when it comes to NFTs. That's super important. Try to jump into Discord, see like if the community is actually there, see if people want to support like the actual team. Are the devs there? Are the devs talking? It's just really important to have like these sort of things occurring and making sure that the stuff that you're looking into when it comes to SolSea, it's actually verified, because you could essentially buy like some knockoff piece of art that's actually not real and you essentially scammed yourself. And of course, buy a ledger so you can actually offload your assets so it's not just front facing on the internet. And hardware wallets are just much safer than like hot wallets on the internet. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And yeah, but anyways, if you made it this far in today's video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Once we hit 500 subs, we're doing a giveaway. Honestly, like it's really hard for me to make these videos because it's really time consuming. I would rather just be on Twitter and just fire off tweets and talk about like the different things that are occurring, because it's just a faster like way of communication. I just really advocate for people to like just jump on Twitter and get like the information themselves, or follow me, do whatever you need to do. Just be on Twitter is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, thanks so much. Have yourself a fantastic day and see you guys in the next one.